Jamba Jumden the Jenja Wanda Jamba Yanda Banzo Bazan Yariba Shabzon Demban Devarisha Banji Jamba Jabundu Kalo Javalana Mevan Hadam Benonje Sanje Jumden the Bejawan Shaja Tubana Chas Shuda Jabzon Shawa Demba Jumden the Deja Dajamba Yanda Banzo Bazan Yariba Devarisha Banji Jamba Jabun Devan Kalo Javalana Sadam Benonje Demba Sanje Jumden the Bejawan Shaja Chazelo should have just share Kanzekanya Zoa Jadamze, Sergeant and Combat. Manage then our churches, Tese Kavaja, Nanda Bunga Jodas, Jija, Seja, Chaban Jedesum, Gomboshon, Senja Dembachim and Davish, Sandon Davaja, the regional Zeva Soma Yame Jenja. Gombo to Jet and Baton J. Chamber, Solomon Danger, Taben de Jatawa, you giving as all letters to the Numicho, she knew your much house. Trinatera Lonya de Lava, she get on by you, get on your house. The Wajia, Mr. Jengava Puzzle, so much, and get some nature, the tenants on yet. Karmara Rema Meda, you must have a sugar the melon. Decision the Dada Solomon Dia, Jessica, Quantum Nature, God another sugar, love to be severe so and one
to the teacher, the blessed one born you, full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened, perfect knowledge and good conduct,
Sugata and supreme guide,
teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious comforter, subdue upon the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings and hope for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one born beyond, full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfecting knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subdue upon the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subdue upon the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When on supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With the pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like golden mighty, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, you know the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. You always find the Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with the qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to dustness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachments, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime, pure reality, to the Dharma which pacifies and prostrates. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation. Holy, qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community, and virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star mirage of flame of lamp, an illusion, drop of dew or bubble, a dream of flash of lightning or cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits, may sentient beings attain rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jola Zoje Jola Ma Chanju Bada Dade Jazu. Dagen Jeso Jebe Sono Je, Rola Bejo, Sanje Jobe. Sanje Shota Soja Shota Chanju Nagin Jaso Jeka Sonong Jian Rola Pinch Sanje Shota Soja Shota Chanju Nagin Jaso Jeka Sonong Jian Rola Pinch Sanje Shota Soja Shota Chanju Padu Dane Jaso Jian Nagin Jaso Jeka Sonong Jian Rola Pinch Sanje
I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Beja Sambonam Jeba, Senam Jemado, Jeba, Juyere, Tonam Medem, Sheraba Sijim Medeva, Tonam Zeba, Simjetam Jejama, Chanju, Sambanam Jeba, Zona Jeba, Yavene, Debo, Juna, Jeba, Meva, Boba, Sanjay, Medeva, Sonamrata, Yanni, Bukujata, Chomija, Kutsumba, Sumevata Geneva, Soda Geneva, Mababa, Sumevata, the Modugan, and the Moduga, Kumbata, Kamna, the Medeva, and the Shidduchip. Yozo don't want the number to the Siva Lair to a Chuan and give a Yeji, Yozo, the Deva, the Majumba, the Yejela Neba, Yangana, Development of Yanda, Vanjatan, the Sujatam Jelas, the Sama Shuba, and the Sanjay. Kujiven the Yanda Namas over the Vision of Toma give a Pada give a Tama give a Yozota Yozo Java Yanda, what over them, but which ever when you want to get on the day of a kilometer, the Susan and very much. Jim de Legend was to be shown the wall of level to when you watch was always a little to watch you with you, about the temper you were you watch you. Tebajim back in the level you were you watch you were Tambush, you were Timbush, you were Timuch, you were charged with you were so many pages. Singing you also watching, but you better you were good on, you better you watching more. Hangia to the news on the Tawa, but better than better than the bottom jam. I think we are on the page 310.
Just at the very top.
How the dream analogist does not establish non-existing of external reality. So the root text says, you may say, since there is no visual cognition in sleep, no external object is seen, and thus mental cognition alone exists. It's the aspect of the mind that are grasped at external. So as in dream, it's the same with waking life. So in the dream, so just read the commentary. You may say, if the body of the elephant, body of an elephant, and so on were to exist during the dreams, then visual cognitions perceiving them would also be presented while dreaming. Thus, this, however, is not accurate, since there is no visual cognition present in dreams for the person who remains afflicted by sleep. So no external object, such as the body of an elephant, perceptible to visual cognition is seen during the dream, and thus in that state, mental cognition alone exists, which means just mentally seeing it. Therefore, no external realities, such as a visual form, exist at all. And it's only the forms of the external object appearing as an aspect of the mind that are, as a
aspects of the mind. Oh, illusible.
Yeah, what's that mean? Aspect of the mind that are illusibly grasped as external. So as in dream, it's the same with the waking life, wherein mere cognitions merge with no external object at all. To argue thus is to assert that even if one granted that dream analogies offered previously does not work, the dream example still establish the existing of the consciousness devoid of external reality. So here the commentary state, this is inaccurate because it is impossible for the mental cognition to merge in dream. The meaning of this statement is that even if we grant an absence of the visual forms in the dream, mental cognition existing by virtue of its intrinsic characteristic, yet devoid of such content, would be impossible even in the dream. Chandrakirti is saying that Cittamatra analogy of dream marries two things: non-existing of the external reality and intrinsic existing of the mental cognition, and therefore it cannot be visual analogy, visible yet. So the minority school, saying that like the dream, that there is no eye consciousness, present within the dream, or there is no eye consciousness in dream to see any form. But in the dream, you see the body of the elephant is just, kind of state of mental consciousness, just state of mental consciousness, which means it is not true that you are in the dream that you are seeing the elephant with your eye. So as the elephant in the dream is unreal, that the dream state of mind, which is thinking that I am seeing the elephant with my eye, is also unreal, right? So the minority school using that, because there is no external elephant at the time of, the dream state of mind, the perceiving the elephant in the dream. So in awakening time, the eye consciousness, which is see the form or the color externally, there is no external object to see. So therefore, this is the perfect example to prove, no external reality, but the consciousness is truly exist. So, and the Prasangic school says that, that very dreams, dream mind or dream state of mind, which is thinking that I am seeing the elephant with my eye, is unreal, like the dream elephant, which is unreal too, right? So then this is not going to prove the awake, awake state of consciousness, which is perceiving the color. the color, as you say, the color is not externally exist, and the consciousness is external. Consciousness is truly exist. So he melam de sevi kaso chire me pesh nam shi trugo shenya bo dine ma yin de melam de ye nam shi jo me sevi chires melam de ye nam shi. So impossible for the mental cognition to emerge in the dream. The meaning of this statement is that even if we grant the absence of visible forms in the dream, mental cognition existing by virtue of an intrinsic characteristic, yet devoid of such content would be impossible, even in a dream. I think he said there's no elephant, there's no real elephant in the dream. So therefore, there is no real mental consciousness that is directly perceiving the elephant is not true. Right? So when there is no snake, the mental consciousness, the believing there's a coil rope as a snake, is not true, because the coil rope is not a snake, but mind is believing that there is a snake. That mind is not real. So yeah, the visual cognition in the sleep. So, and again, the root text, that just as for you, no external reality are born in the dream, no mental consciousness are born either. So that, the dream state of mind is the mental consciousness. So they, like the object of like the dream object is unreal, like the dream object is unreal. So, similarly, the dream state of mind, which is seeing, believing there is real elephant, is also not true. It's unreal. So all three factors of the perceptions, the eye, their object, and the mind, engendered by them, are fictitious. For the heirs and the rest too, these three factors lack birth. Majeva.
That's false, fictitious.
Yeah, chidar cheji yu milam tu maje teshin. Like elephant is not born, they're not there in the dream, like the mind that believe that seeing elephants also not there, as belief is not there. So yija majits. Should I choose it on the children? Like eye consciousness is unborn, elephant is not there, eye consciousness not there, eye consciousness seeing the elephant is not there, mind which is seeing, believing that eye consciousness there to seeing the elephant. Right. So all of them not true. So I think this is what saying the Prasangika school says that your example is not matching, what you're trying to establish. You are setting example of the dream, and that not really match with what you're trying to prove. You're trying to prove is consciousness is the only thing that is truly exists. The object of the consciousness may not be true, but consciousness is always true. And then using the example is the dream. So dream is already unreal because the dream sees the eye consciousness, the seeing the elephant. So the elephant is not there, eye consciousness is not there, and how can the mind that believing eye consciousness, my eye, I'm seeing the elephant with my eye. So, and then all of them are unreal, and then you're trying to that dream states of mind, mental consciousness, unreal, and there is no eye consciousness seeing the elephant. There is no elephant to see, right? And that, how can this help you to establish the eye consciousness truly exists? Eye consciousness truly exists, right? So there's a school of thought, like minority school, when it comes to the emptiness from their own point of view. So they select the best example. So minority school thinks the dream is the best example, to the empty of the dualistic. And then medieval autonomous school finds the best example is like illusion, like magicianal object. So they think this is closer to their their views. The Prasangika school, they are all same to us. Like dream object, magicianal object, coil rope as a snake, and the reflection of the moon in the water. They're all, to play the same role, unreal. So how can you find this favorite example? This is the best example for them. Just as for you, no external objects or the facts are born in the dream. No mental consciousness are intrinsically born there. So this, the terms that really kind of, so for the mind-only school, they're always uncomfortable with, no intrinsic. So they don't want to hear that, if no intrinsic, the interpretation of the mind-only school, which means there's no basis for existing of them, of consciousness, which means for them, it translates to non-existing. So they don't want to, hear that kind of the terms. So, but the Prasangika school is saying that, just as for no external object or the fact are born in a dream, no mental cognitions. Mental cognitions are intrinsically born either. So they still having, difficult to, to accepting it, agreeing with that. Thus, just as during the waking state, when one perceives a form, three things, converge.
Come together.
Yeah. Three things converge: I and the visual form and the mental faculties. So the convergence of the three things that cognition would perceive that object. So, when you think that you have seen something, means, so this is the convergence of the three things: mental faculties, and the eye consciousness, and the object. So when you dream, I'm seeing an elephant, again, there's three conversions. You feel like there is eye consciousness, the mental consciousness, and there's the external object. So that a cognition would perceive the object. Also, just as the eyes, as well as their object and the visual form, are not present in the dream state. So there's no eye, right? There's no eyes, there is no object of eye consciousness, and there is, the visual form, physical form. So not present in the dream, the mind engendered by these two factors, namely the visual consciousness, also does not exist. The mind thinks when you dream, you feel like there is eye consciousness, that's seeing the elephant. So all three factors of the perceptions, the eyes organ, eye sense power, the visual forms, the object, and the mental faculties are, fictitious. So the minority school still says, I can understand that there is no I, there is no object of eye consciousness. But how can you say, their mental consciousness is also fictitious? Mental consciousness, there's a dream consciousness. The dream mind is the mental consciousness that is truly exists. Just as for the eyes, these three factors lack intrinsically real, intrinsically real birth for the ears and the rest too. So the Prasangika school, trying, in that context of that is the mind is not real like eye consciousness and the object of eye consciousness. So mind is not real. So Prasangika school, the meaning of that is the mind that feels that there's eye consciousness, that looking at the elephant. So like elephant is unreal and eye conscious is unreal, the mind that believes eye conscious seeing is also unreal. So that's the mind in Prasangika school, So and then the mind in the school still says, that is unreal to the object of the mental consciousness. This unreal is not to the subject consciousness. Object, when it comes to the relation to the object of the mental consciousness, may not be real. But mind that is projecting is truly exist.
Does that mean when they say truly exist, that it's constant, permanent, like there's one consciousness always present, never changing?
Huh?
When they say truly existent of consciousness, are we saying that it's always present,
No, it's just dream mind. The dream mind is mental consciousness. So the mind-only school, like external, there is no external object in the dream mind, right? And during the dream, there is no external object. So, but the dream state of mind is there, is real, is truly exists. So this kind of trying to match with, awake state, the eye consciousness which sees the form. That form may not be truly exists, but the eye consciousness which is, perceiving the form is truly exist. So the mind, Prasangika school says, like in the dream, there is no external object, there is no eye consciousness which is perceiving and then mental consciousness that believe the eye consciousness perceiving object, elephant, is also unreal. And mind school still says, so it's, everything you are talking about is, with relation to the object is unreal. So it is never really for us to say the subject, the dream consciousness is unreal. The commentary says the word and the rest include form, sound, include the commentary says the words and the rest. Says the words and the rest, like eye consciousness, air consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, all includes form, sound, and auditory consciousness up to mental elements and dream elements. And Dharma element, how's it? This is called Chöyi Geshe, Chöyi Geshe. He turns the Dharma element, Each membership of produce. Membership each Chöyi come. Now membership Yida Chöyi come down. Each membership of produce. Chöyi come means, is the constituents of the mental consciousness. Constituents of mental consciousness. Now that includes so many. Sometimes the word is, they use the term, when they have difficult to express any meaning, they just use Chöyi come. So which means so there's the eye consciousness and the sound, air consciousness, sound, eye consciousness, form, nose consciousness, smell, body consciousness with textures, tongue consciousness with taste, and then the mental consciousness with, mental object. So here the mind and the mental objects called, constituents of the mental, constituent of the mind. Chöyi comes.
So instead of an object of mental consciousness, you use the Dharma element.
Yeah, it's the Dharma element, yes, yeah. I think, these are, even this, in the text, they use the Chöyi come. It's still, it kind of with the expression of not knowing the pinpoint, the way to pinpoint. So there's a something in the subject and object, but we can see, something that obvious to you as subject and object, the eye and the form. And these are the obvious, the sound in the air consciousness. But when it comes to mind and the mental objects, that's called Chöyi come. So in this field of the constituents of the mind, a field of the mind. So many times, if we see things without anger, attachment, affective emotion, misconceptions, and then the objects are all, non-existence. And sometimes we kind of, we see things like foresee, when you foresee, right? So like futures, if I do this, then I can have this. So that kind of mentally projects, some kind of object that is exists before the mind, right? So, for example, if I don't see anything on the mountain, for the mind to understand there is the fire, because I saw the smoke. So from the smoke, I predict there must be fires. The fire is not perceived by eye consciousness, air consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, not even the body consciousness, but mind, sees, mentally, perceives the fire exists on the mountain because of the smoke, right? And then, sometimes the mind creates in the field of the mind, there is an object, there is the object, like, how's that? Yeah, like when you meditate, contemplate on the impermanence of the body, and then the changes of the body due to the force of the karma and afflictive emotions, then the mind says, oh, that change is called conditional suffering. So the mind in the world of that mind, mental kind of is that. Yeah. There's some kind of, maybe we can use the term like realm of the mind or the world of the mind. There is something to see, something to perceive, something to cognize. And that may be based on the reasoning or based on preconceptions, based on, habit. So many ways, there's in that field of the mind has so many things to see. Some are not exist, some may exist, some may exist in the future. So that called Chuji comes. They here you translate Dharma. What's it? Dharma elements. That's why I always think that this whole book is not completely translated to the Jimba. So there's many pieces together, So because of this. I think they should find a better term in that, So where I am, sound and hear the body organs and the remaining. Up to the mental consciousness. So the 4 remaining physical sense organ. Yeah. Consciousness up to mental element and the dharma element. Yida, Chuyi comes. So this mental and the dharma element is kind of, it's kind of, it's related because of the mind. So there is the world of that mental consciousness, which is unlike the world of the eye consciousness, the air consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness. As well as up to mental consciousness. So the 4 remaining physical sense organ, the air up to body organ, are 4 remaining sense objects, sound to the textures, and the 4 remaining cognitions, such as auditory consciousness. All of these remain fictitious, even though they have no existence in the dream state. They appears as if they do. Hence, they are all false. The 3 factors of the mental cognitions do exist and do exist during the dream state, but they still remain false. For they appears to the possesses, right? Appears to possess the intrinsic reality when they do not. So like dream objects are real to the dream mind, real to the dream mind, but in actual, for the actual, in the reality, they are not, they are all false. The dream objects are real to the dream mind, but in the reality, they're all false. So similarly, the dream state of mind itself is also false and unreal, because like object, the dream minds, feels like there is I consciousness and there is a real physical elephant. But still, we can witness that Prasangika school. So Prasangika school haven't really, convinced the mind-only school, to say that the consciousness, mental consciousness, not truly exist. So every time the Prasangika school presents this, lays out this kind of reasoning to say the mental consciousness unreal, and for the mind-only school, they understand everything that you're talking about, the dream state of mind is unreal, is with relation to the object, because of the object, and that's unreal. So therefore, the object are unreal. We mind-only school also accept the object of the dream are unreal. So you haven't proof further to say the dream state of mind is not truly exists. So you haven't really proved that. So those who take the presence of the sensory consciousness in the dream state as representing the Master Chandrakirti's positions and then go about refuting it reveals excessive, right?
Mm-hmm. Excessive
Crudeness in the use of their intellect. This is exactly like the saying that letting the sun of the refutations rise before daybreak of the opponent's standpoint has arrived. Sun has to come early, So before the dawn, the sun has, yeah. Milam the Ombe Sheba, Lumenti, Lucy Shebe, Telagawa Sheba. So when, as I mentioned, when we stay in the middle, minority school and Prasangic school, so we still says, a Prasangic school, you have lays out all the reasoning. The reasoning is only proving the minority school with relation to object of the dream state of mind is unreal. But you haven't proved yet the consciousness not truly exists. So Prasangic school says, yes, we are pointing to the dream state of mind, which is the mental consciousness, is unreal. Like the object of the dreams are unreal. Why object of the dreams are unreal? Because there is no external object, but you feel like you have seen external object, therefore unreal. So the mental consciousness too, is unreal because it feels like, there is real eye consciousness. There is the real elephant. So the Prasangic school says that we have kind of pretty much closer to that, saying mental consciousness unreal. This much we can say. But minority school says, all this reasoning is, you're simply trying to, simply proving that the object of the mind, object of the mental consciousness are unreal. But you haven't really yet proved the consciousness not truly exists. Because for us, the consciousness is truly exists. It arises from the cosmic condition. The mental dream state of mind is the conditional phenomena. It is born from their own cosmic condition. And some masters, when they, some master thinks that, Prasangic school is simply saying that, Prasangic school is saying that, in the dream, there is no eye consciousness, right? That eye consciousness is unreal. Therefore, dream is not truly exist. And then the Lama Tsongkapha says, you come to the point they're saying that without, having a dawn, and you are, how's it? Letting the sun of the refutation rise before daybreak of the opponents. So which means you haven't really understand opponents, what they are arguing. So you just say, Prasang, you don't really know what is Prasangic school has refuting. So Prasangic school is not refuting the dream consciousness, dream consciousness. In the dream, they feel like there is eye consciousness, right? And they feel like there's the real elephant. Like the elephant and eye consciousness unreal, therefore the dream which feels like there is eye consciousness in elephant is also unreal. It's not just saying the eye consciousness unreal, therefore the mental consciousness not truly exist. So you're, I think what's this? Letting the sunrise to repetitions arises. So which means you are shooting the arrow, before seeing the target. So to cast this kind of activity far away. So then Lama Tsongkapha says, if you don't understand, don't just comment, just go back to your bed. some Tibetans, while harboring the pretension of being great scholar, fail to comprehend even the rough outline of the position of the great Bodhisattvas. Yeah. So now this Lama Tsongkapha says the minority school, the great master like Vasubandhus, and yeah, there are many great masters, great Bodhisattvas in very so so I think Lama Tsongkapha is pointing to these masters who he commenting on this argument. So, like in Prasangika schools, the point is there is no I consciousness, real I consciousness, therefore unreal. There's no elephant, therefore it's unreal. So Lama Tsongkapha says, those minority school is, the minority school masters that are much, wiser and smarter than you. So they don't say like this. So while they're harboring the pretension of the being great scholars. Yeah, these days there are many scholars, who are most learned in philosophical masters such as these. They thus relate to these masters as object of continual accumulations, demerits, and led many others to such demerits. So please be mindful. So don't mislead other people. So if you don't understand, just quiet and listen. So you can rarely see in the Lama Tsongkapha's text this like a skull. So in the very, very rare, yeah. And the Kiddu Rinpoche, you can see a lot. There's so many skulls. That's what sometimes his son is commenting. Kiddu Rinpoche way he said, I don't like him. So I don't like him. So Baba Vivek respond to the Cittamatra's positions of its own standpoint, as outlined in in the lines, since there is no visual cognition in sleep, by demonstrating how the opponent's analogy remains, unestablished. He writes how in the dream state there do exist form belonging to the class of the mental object, forms that are perceived by mental consciousness. Hence, no instant of the consciousness exists that has no object. So therefore, and the Baba Vivek is saying these mental objects called Chögi Geshe means I think you can, maybe probably best to use the word is mental object. And then there are some mental form, So mental form, mental projections, the form that projected by the mind. So why there's a mental form that is mental projection is, there's many kind of mental projections. Some are, like a, intrinsic eye, independent eye, permanent eye. These are also mental projection, right? And then sometimes, something that is, what do you call it? Intuition, the things that you see early, mentally, right? So, and then that can be, they can meet correctly sometimes, like sometimes in the dream you see the place and people, and then next day you see the real, exactly what you dream. So therefore, it called mental form. They call Chögyegyé souls. So mental form, and it is always mental projections. Yes, mental projections. So I think that we should differentiate the mental projection and the mental form. And then these are also mental form are also, is why it's called mental form. This form is only perceived through the mental consciousness, cannot be seen with eye. And through the concentration, the high realization, the concentrations, again, the mental creates the form, like the deities. So those are projected by the mind, but there is, that form can be very obvious and very vivid to the mind. And you cannot, you cannot really proven wrong. So these are can be seen through the mental consciousness, like the color of the deities, the physical form of the deities, whole, the shape of the deities. So these are mentally seen. It's not through the eye. So these are called mental form, Chögyegyé souls. And many of those, like, these are the, and then during the death process, so many things that seen by the mind, because the dissolution of the earth element, dissolution of water elements, that kind of, condition the mind to perceive the different forms, like mirage-like, smoke-like, and like sparkles. These are all vividly appears to the mind because it's conditioned by the element. One element reduces, earth element reduced to the water element reduced. So these are mental form. But it's not the, cannot be touched, cannot be seen with eye. So Baba's big argument is you cannot say the dream, there is no dream objects. So Baba Vivek says, yes, there is the dream objects. So these are, mental form. And that dream consciousness is seeing those mental form. So, the way the Baba Vivek, brings the argument is to the mind-only school say, you cannot say there's no object in the dream. The object that's feel like object to see is unreal because the object, there is no object. So the Baba Vivek says, you cannot say there is no object. Yes, the dream has their own object. So the dream form. So the dream elephant is the dream form. So Milam the number of sum here. And then Baba Vivek says there is no object of I consciousness, there is no I consciousness, there is no I consciousness perceiving the form. That may be true, but the dream has its own object. Dream is seeing its own object. The dream mind is seeing their own object. So the dream elephant is, the Baba Vivek said, this is mental form.
Because he's saying that mental consciousness still exists.
The mental consciousness still exists. Mental consciousness, there's no one arguing mental consciousness exists or not exists. The Prasangika school says mental consciousness unreal as its object. The Minority school says, yes, I can understand dream objects are unreal because there is no object, right? But consciousness is truly exists. So, Minority school not saying the dream mental consciousness not exists. Minority school mental consciousness at the time is unreal as its object. So Baba Vivek comes and saying to the minority school, you are saying, the dream state of mind is truly exists, but their object is unreal, therefore object is not exist. So object is exist. There is object to see, to feel, and then the way it sees is mentally. So their dream elephant, the form of the dream elephant is a mental form.
And the mental form, you could say, is functional?
Yeah, it's a functional. Yeah. If the mental consciousness has no form to see, no form to perceive, and then the problem is, the clairvoyant. How can they see the previous life? How can they recall, the detail what happened in the past life? And some you can see what will happen in the futures. So this is all perceived by the mind. No I consciousness could see the past, could not see the future, only mind. So then you have to say this, Nenjo has the high concentrations has no object. Right? Like, if the minority school thinks the dream consciousness has no object because it's the mind, right? So, and then the high concentration has true and no object. So, concentrations on the deities also, there is no object. If the concentration has the object, meditation has the object, the meditating on the deities, the form of the deities has the object, and then the dream state of mind should have its own object. And sometimes they use the term, it's the dream form, and then and then sometimes they use means it's just what's there, form that is there because of the projections, and and the form which is there because your mind is, imposing,
imposed by the mind. I think from there you can see even that mental form has many levels. So some forms are, exactly the, exact as it's seen by the mind. It can be seen by eye consciousness. So this is just, mental form, and it can exactly like that you can see with your eye tomorrow, right? And then ngombar kayu isu means maybe not exactly that like that, So you can dream something, you can predict something. When it, when it comes in the reality, may not be true as, as exact as you dream. So therefore, is ngombar kayu means just you paint it. You just paint in this way. So now, when it comes real, maybe not exactly, but pretty much, 90% is matching it.
Some kind of imposition.
Yeah.
So when you see the object exactly as the eye is going to see, that's not an imposition, but it's still projection of the mind.
Still projection of mind, yeah. So the reason behind it, in what condition you are projecting it. You are projecting that through the concentration. You are projecting that with help of some blessing of the deities. Or you're projecting that from your, some imprints. Or you're projecting that from your desire, So it's some you can say the mental form is, projection, impositional, and it is, Yeah, I mean, like what called something that's going to happen, but you bring it early. Precognition, something like, precognitions. Precognition is the kind of like that. So there's the mind has things to see, and therefore mind can reveal and realize, even the form. So this is the, Bhava Vivek, and it brings the argument. Bhava Vivek is not arguing the Prasangic school. Chandrakirti is, he was just trying to correct the mind-only school. Mind-only school, because it's unreal, therefore there's no object. So unreal is not going to prove, not exist.
So mind-only school is unreal because
it's not exist. So for them, an unreal means it's not there. I think through those and the deity, sadhanas, when you practice, yam the lumbi kimbos, you just, through you're meditating, right? Meditation, yes, the kind of meditation. Kind of contemplating that you are mentally projecting your air elements as a base, and from the air element, and then the heat, and the fire element, and the water element, and the earth element. So, and then you're trying, you are projecting your own air element, first the space element, air element, and then heat, and water and earth element. So you're projecting from your own elements to create the mandala. So my ears in this, become the yam lungi moments. There's from the yam syllable, the rise, the wind element, and the top of that, and then the heat, fire, and then water and the earth, and then become round, and then there's start structuring the building of the mandala. And then you just superimpose, kind of impose that, 4 pillars of the mandalas. So then you say the 4 pillars is, and some, you can say, because the 4 noble truths, or 4 pillars. That is, so the four noble truths that represents the 4 noble truths, and then the roof of the mandalas, and all the decorations, and you can say that my intestines all manifest in the form of the beautiful flowers, and that decorate the whole mandalas. So you can just mentally project them, and if you do that for many times, it appears to you this kind of mandala. So then, which means you are separating, you are trying to say, I am not one with the body. I am not one with feeling, perceptions, and the earth element, water elements. And then, although I'm not there, I'm not them, it's just from the elements that build, that my whole body is right now formed in the mandala. And then in the center, he says, there is energies. So that energy is transformed into the deities. First syllable letters, and then letters that instantly form into the deities. And then again says, so because of this center of the energy, which is now in the form of the deity, it sustains the whole mandala. So that energy is no different from each the walls and the ceilings and everything, no different from it. But it's still, kind of, it has its own self-sufficient. Self-sufficient means because it sustained all of them. So I think and then with that, the center, so you have come to understand that now you are not identical with each aggregates. You are not independent from it. And then the center of that is, again, there is the form. I can be manifest. I am exist with this form of the deities. Right, with this form of the deities. And the mandala, and that deities have the activities, the performance of dispelling the suffering of the sentient beings, offering to the 10 directions of the Buddha. And again, the mandala start dissolving, the earth to the water, water to the fire, fire to the wind, wind to the space. And again, whole mandala and deities all, dissolve back to the space. So, and then again, you create mandalas. So you can see this, so these, through the concentration, you are it's not a superimposing, it is impositional kind of, the form of the mandala and the deities. So every time you just create the mandala, and there's the instantaneous manifestation of your settled energy as a deity, and sometimes within the deity you meditate. So focus on the deity itself, and then, Om Ahum, the body, speech, and mind. Again, they meditate emptiness. their deities, that deity is again empty of intrinsic existence. So I think there's visually you are trying to understand the deeper into the impermanence and understanding the relativities existing of the mandalas and the aggregates, and again empty and intrinsic nature of the yourself. So that through the concentration you can continuously visualize and imagine that, and when the concentration is the concentration become more stable and more you stabilize the concentrations, and the knowledge of the concentrations is become more sustainable, more reliable, right? And then the object of the mandala is more vivid and more clear to you. So that is, that whole form is seen through the mind. So Baba Vivek is saying these are, mental form. These are not a non-existence. And the sum of the Tantrayana, they say, so these are the preparation in the future. So this may happen, this will happen. And when you get enlightened, so the whole realms are the pure and the peaceful and stable harmony. It just happened because of the enlightenment. So even the Buddha, the enlightened in this, in the state of enlightenment, there is a whole form, sound, smell, taste, textures, and whole place, the whole world in the Buddha. Buddha still understands these are relative and exist. None of them has intrinsic qualities. With relativity here is compassion and the wisdom and the collection of the yins and yins, the merit that projects this whole space filled with peaceful realm. So then, yeah, the same thing. The sentient beings, because of their, demeritorious activities and their lack of compassion, lack of wisdoms, and they also project their own world, which has so many difficulties. So all the Buddha and sentient beings are all in the mandala. So sentient beings believe that these are not intrinsically exist. These are not relatively exist. These are truly exist. I think this, maybe these are true because we, for example, we have saved and buy the insurance, and that projects in the mind that if I go somewhere, and then before you have no insurance, if I get sick, what may happen? The problems. So when you buy the insurance, they say, if I go there, the problem, I'm okay with that. So that kind of this kind of the safe physically the world is projected, so imposed by the mind, by depending on the condition. So the Baba is true. The mind has its own object. So in a similar way, the air consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, also like that. There's many things that you are mentally, You can smell things, hear things, you can feel. Sometimes you're looking at picture of the food, you can taste. You feel like I have this taste. When you see the lemon in the far distance, lemons from the distance, you will look at lemon. There's some kind of taste there. This is mentally, it's mentally a mental power. The power of the mind. So I think whole proving that, the world that you see is everything is unreal, but the way the structures, where they kind of, what's that, related or contact, things that related in your mind and you feel safe and not safe. So these are all unreal. They do not exist by their own essence. Because the mind, because the mental mind, the state of mind is imposing. So when you see the Milarepa in the naked, whole years naked, let's say, he is the most peaceful. How can that be possible? He has nothing, right? And the one that is in the, one lives in the palace, the king lives in the palace, so many problems, fear all the time, could not have good sleep, so even they could not taste better the food, the most expensive food that. So the Milarepa was, there's nothing to wear, just naked. It's the most peaceful, more comfortable, more confidence. So it's the mind is playing that. So Prasangika school saying nothing intrinsically unreal, but unreal can play another unreal. So within that unreal, within the unreal, it is still performing the function. So now the main point is, in what conditions you are projecting those unreal? Are you projecting the unreal, by the afflictive emotion, or with compassion and wisdom? How you things, present to the mind with relation to things, conditions, I think this is really kind of, the Prasangika schools, trying to present that, the every instance of the life, event that happening within you, all of them is not truly exists, which means anything that you see and you feel, they don't exist by their own essence. It's relation to your mind and with conditioned by the element. And then you have those conditions to keep you safe and unsafe. Right? There is no object by itself is protecting you, or there is no object by itself is, it kind of, it comforts you. Mind with the elements, the conditions, and mentally with additional mental imposition, and that keeps you safe and not safe. So the minority school understand with kind of, within the, the world of that impositional parts. So they can contemplate some of those unreal. But minority school still thinks at the center of their mind, they still thinks all of them are created by the mind. Mind should be truly exist. So that's why I keep saying that, when there is the reflection of your face in the mirror unreal, that is conditioned by the real face. If there's no real, how can there be an image of them? So the mind should be truly exist, intrinsically exist. So when it comes to the projected imposes by the mind, and then you can say those are unreal. So this is why the Nagarjuna says, your, the mirror image. The mirror image is unreal, but mirror image can reflect on another mirror. Right? So if you think that, because it is unreal, it is unreal, therefore it's not exist. The unreal is projected by the real things. You think without the real, it cannot project any object. So then the question is why the reflection in the mirror can reflect on another mirror. So I think, the world of yourself as a comfortable or not comfortable is usually we kind of, determined by, things that we can see and hear and smell and taste and touch, right? So now here the saying is not the color that you see, by itself is not performing any, effect. It is not comforting you by the color itself. When the color that you project created with your eye sense power and the space and the light and the form with happiness, and that color become more favorable. And that color that's seen and projected and created with, with disturbing minds, and the color is still annoying, irritating, discomfort. So the color is not the responsible for keep you safe or happy or not happy. Sound is not by itself has no any potential to keep you safe or not safe. So because the five sensual objects we call Tenga, these is outcome of element. It's outcome of element, and then when it comes to relate to your mind, and then whatever the interpretation, what is the kind of whatever that what it means to you through eye consciousness, nose consciousness, that become the object for the mind. Then some of object is unfavorable, some of objects are unfavorable. That not because of just the object by itself. So when you relate to the mind and the way the mind interpret them, or what is meant to you, or where the mind is painting on that, so then that become matter to you. So when you read the preface to the Buddha Shakyamuni, subdue your mind thoroughly, and this is the teaching of the Buddhas. So when you totally tame the mind, and every form, sound, smell, taste become friendly, favorable to you. Right? So that you're perfectly comfortable. Just taming the mind. So I think that's depending on how you so many of those study and Buddha's teaching, and that does not mean when you study you have intellectual understanding. You become professional in that Buddha's teaching, but still not tame, and the same, the color, sound, smell plays same role as it plays to the ordinary people. So the tame means your mind is so convincing, so sure and certain in that truth. So the main point is, if the mind stays with truth, and your mind is safe. And some people say, if you always stay with truth, you may find a lot of troubles. So it's like these are, 5% truth, and 95% is not true. So therefore, you find trouble. So from the deep state of mind, so convincing, and kind of abide or kind of attach to the truth. So then there's no problem. This is what the Buddha meant. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. So there's, so the Bhava Vivek argument to the mind-only school say you cannot say the dream has no object. Dream has its own object. Mental consciousness, no instance of consciousness. In critiquing this passage of the Bhava Vivek, Chandrakirti writes, this too is incorrect because the existence of all three factors remain utterly impossible in the dream state. Utterly impossible in the dream. If you accept, now when the Bhava Vivek brings this argument, says that dream has its own object. You cannot say the dream object is unreal, therefore dream has no object. So the Bhava Vivek is asserting the dream has its own object, which means dream is perceiving its object. Dream is, unmistakably and perceiving its object. So the Chandrakirti says, this too is incorrect. The dream object exist, means, for you, the dream objects, is intrinsically exist. So dream object exists by itself as object. The dream state of mind, the subject, is by itself. This is almost like the food and the tongue. There is food truly out there. There's a tongue when it touches and you can taste, right? so the Chandrakirti say you are kind of referring the dream and the dream's objects are like food and the tongue, so they are independent. So objects of the dream exist by itself. The dream state of mind is manifest by itself. Now, this one side of the dream is looking at the dream object. So that is impossible in that dream state. If you accept these three factors in the dream state for the sake of refuting the opponent's standpoint, the dream analogies would not, dream analogy would, in that case, meaningless if the dream has content that is not fictitious, then it cannot illustrate that the actual reference. That things have the character of being false. So yeah, now Chandrakirti is saying that yes, there is kind of relatively, as the dream object exists as an impositional factors that imposed by the dream mind. So which means this is like, the glass and the color of the glass. When you look at the glass, you see the color. So that glass edge is color of that is inseparable. So like a dream and its object is, the glass and the color of that glass. So it's inseparable. And how can you say the dream object that exists inherently, intrinsically, which means dream object is not exist by their own essence. It is imposed by the dream. Right? So it is what imposing it and what is impositional are not the two different things. So so as the object, imposition is fictitious, then the subject which is projecting that false is also like object, the subject too is false. Sometimes there are arguments, sometimes you find like two sheep is charging, two yak so go far and charge. But you see, you have to understand what it is in their mind, what is their understanding about the realities. So the minority school kept in their mind, kept in mind or kind of something that deep in their mind, they don't want to give up. They don't want to, they don't want to, they are not ready to accept, that consciousness is not truly exist. That is very strong, resistant there. So the Prasangika school and Prasangika school are very flexible and very friendly, but very hard, having hard time to convince the minority school. The Prasangika school had no fear of unreal become non-existent. So the minority school, if things are unreal, false, which means they become a rabbit hole. So that is their fear. So one is free from the fear and trying to convince them. This one, the minority school have, so very intense kind of, kind of attached, and that because of that fear. So if things become false and non-existing, and there is nothing, to talk about the virtues and non-virtues. There is no law and cause and effect. There is no Four Noble Truths. There is no Buddha. There is no path lead to liberations, because everything is false and unreal. That is their biggest fear. So because of that, there is a strong resistance there. So Prasangika school is very flexible because they, and false and unreal is relatively, So even the Buddha, so Prasangika schools is unreal and falsely exist. Buddha as a Shakyamuni, Buddha as a human being, Buddha as a enlightened being. So they all are impositional factors is there because of the letters, the languages. So this is Prasangika school, dare to say that, so that because they have no fear, or if I think or express, Buddha is impositional factors. So they don't have the fear of, falling into nihilism. So this, the Buddha is impositional factors, relatively existing, not exists in and of itself, not intrinsically there, like the color that you see, sound that you hear, smell that you smell, and the taste and the textures. Everything that you touch on the ground, some you may find firm, some are soft, some are hard. So all relatively, they're soft, relatively hard, relatively firm. So nothing is by itself become hard and firm and hard, soft. Nothing, no food that by itself it become delicious or not delicious. If the food is from the what determines the delicious and not delicious is determined only through the food. So then, that you cannot say, when you are full, you don't find, oh, it's not delicious as yesterday, right? As morning. And when you're hungry, even the toast is so delicious, So this is not possible because the tasteful or not tasteful is determined by the object by itself. Then it cannot be, become the delicious, not delicious with relation to the subject, sense faculty and consciousness. So soft and hard and firm is also, is existing is relatively. And like heavy and light, soft and hot and cold, these are all relatively exist. There's nothing really, independent, nothing really inherently exist. So if all of them, things that you see and smell and taste and things that you touch are unreal, therefore, concept of Buddha as a person, as an enlightened being, as the prince, as a quality of the quality of the the quality of being, the quality of the cessation of the afflictive emotions. So here the Buddha can be referred to the person, Buddha can be referred to the qualities, which means Buddha is not intrinsically exists. If he is intrinsically a person, you cannot say, the pacification of even the stain of the afflictive emotion is the Buddha, right? So then that cannot be Buddha. And the Buddha himself stated in Sutra, whoever sees me as a form and speech, they don't see me. So which means they don't really understand the actual Buddha. The Buddha means awaken. Awaken means an awaken in the absence of intrinsic existence. So Buddha means freedom from the afflictive emotion, freedom from even the stain of the afflictive emotion. So that is not a human being. That is not the prince. That's not the Indian. Right? If that is Indian, and only Indian people can attain enlightenment. No American, no Tibetan, no Chinese can attain it. Because you have to be Indian, right? Because the Buddha is the person. So if you follow the Buddha, then you have to go to India and apply the citizen. So, so then there is possible for you to attain enlightenment. So if the Buddha is not just a person, it can be imposed as a person, it can be understood as a quality. So this, Prasangika school keeps saying, first step, they want to, first step they can make is, the dream and the dream object. So if you understand the dream object is unreal, because it is as it appears is not true, right? And similarly, the dream state of mind, the way it sees things is unreal. Therefore, why not you can say the dream mind is unreal? So if you mindfulness goal being able to, make the first step, and then the Prasangika school says it is not intrinsic, it exists. So because the reflections, the dream, and the mirage are the example. So if you understand everything is, as unreal as the reflections, as unreal as the mirage, as unreal as a dream object, so then there's a possible understanding of the things absence of devoid of intrinsic nature. So, if you continuously interpret the unreal as a non-existing, the Prasangika school says, that is very amazing because, because everybody knows the reflection is functioning. You look at the mirror and you do things to fix your face. It has the function. It's unreal, it is a functioning. So why do you think unreal, therefore none exist? So the first step people to kind of make is very difficult because they don't dare to say everything is unreal. Yeah, any questions? Oh, it's a 4:30. No questions? Okay. Chanju simjo remboje, maje bana jejuji, jevanyamba, mervanyam, kone kondo pebaji. Pama simje tamje, dedan denjuji, ngendro tamje, tadu kong. Chanju simbo kano sujube, deda guji, molam dubijuruji. Karere gobe shimazo, penda dewa manunju. Jere sawa, tenzin gyazu yi shabe, sede badu denjuji.
May the precious body mind not yet one arise and grow. May the bond of no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet one arise and grow. May the bond of no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all father and mother sentient beings have all the happiness. And may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, more powerful Trinity tending gods. Remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.